like 50 minutes until now.
50 minutes, Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So it went somewhat fast. Uh, Dude, even this is such a complicated discussion. My whole view is that most of the things you just mentioned are characteristics of the blockchain, and most of them, or at least cryptos in general. Like, I would actually give all the credits to Bitcoin's performance, or let's say reputation, due to first mover advantage.
Mm-hmm.
There's there's so many things I I don't like. I'm not convinced. I'm not impressed by them. They just seem like, in the world of cryptos, they're just meh. Like, yeah. I don't even know where to start. Yeah, but no.
Let's start at transaction speed, because
Transaction
it
speed
obviously
is
doesn't
bad,
qualify. Or how many
right?
transactions it can do. Yeah,
Per
the
second.
transaction speed is fast. I don't even know per second how much it is.
I think usually in Bitcoin, I think there's like 10 to 30 minutes for a transaction to be confirmed, which I think is kind of long.
Mm-hmm.
I like. I'm not sure if my view on Bitcoin is it's never gonna become a currency. It might be. For example, Stanley Druckenmiller was saying that Bitcoin is like high beta gold. Like, I think it's decent for store of wealth. I think it might be a good hedging mechanism. And like you said, its pyramidal nature actually makes it so that the more people believe in it and invest in it, the more I I want to say stability it has, but it hasn't had a lot of stability. Like, we spoke about this, and you mentioned it's like positive uh, volatility, and I understand it's mostly
Upward.
going up. Yeah,
Yes.
it's mostly
Upward
going up,
volatile.
but yeah, but dude, like, seriously, it's lost 50% since last month, like at some point in May, and I don't know. I wouldn't store my wealth. Like, imagine, like, if you have a sum of money which you don't care about, that's fine. But for what if you have an unexpected expense? What you're gonna do then? Because, okay, last month you had $60,000. Now you have 35,000, and you might need that money now. That's not super reliable. Like, and I'm obviously, so right now the whole crypto space is like, I think, like 1.5 trillion. It's like, it's less than the market cap of Apple. It's super small. People think it's big and it's mainstream, but the truth is it's super small. And people talk about BTC price manipulation and stuff like that. Dude, seriously, it's well, it's smaller than the biggest company in the world in terms of capitalization. I'm not sure if Apple is now the biggest or not, but okay, let's say I think it's top five at least, if it's not top,
Yeah.
if it's not the first one. So it's not that big for its reputation and its widespreadness, but still, it's super volatile, man. If Apple stock went 50% up and down from one month to another, people would be scared. Like, I think it moved less than 50% during the initial COVID movements. And honestly, like, if and that was supposed to be a super infectious, deadly disease that would actually hinder the whole world. Well, it didn't turn out to be that, but that's a different story. And I think it moved like 30%. It still didn't move 50%. So how is it a store of wealth with the inherent property of being super stable and reliable when it moves more than a blue chip stock?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That doesn't make sense for me. And then there's, like, dude, seriously, another aspect, and we spoke about this, is well, it's spread in terms of who owns how much. And I think I showed you some. I think there was like a website who actually calculates the amount of bitcoins in wallets, and I think, like, 5% of wallets own like 95% of all the Bitcoins. And obviously, our discussion then was, okay, what about the dollar? I showed you some, I'm just telling this for everybody. I showed you some numbers from the Federal Reserve, which said that the top, I think the top 10%, no, the top 1% has 30%. The next 10%, 9% have another 30%. Then until 50%, there's another 30%, and then the lower 50% have 10% of the whole dollar wealth, which is obviously it's super sad and tragic, and it's not good, right? But then again, it's much better than Bitcoin. Again, your point was, and I acknowledged it, it might be valid, is we don't know about who owns what in dollars. And that's fine. But I'll just say that we do know in Bitcoin, and it's super, super focused in the hands of a few individuals. I think it's like less than 10,000 accounts which have this amount. And that's scary. Like, you want to talk about whales? Those are whales. Like, they can influence price a lot. And yeah. So
Yeah, is that it? You done?
there's so many
Hold on.
things. There's
Let me turn on the light real quick because it's getting a little dark
okay,
here.
cool. Yeah, I'm just gonna answer what Adam said in the chat. Yeah, I think the same. I think it's a stepping stone. It's the first mover. It's the MySpace of the crypto space, and I think it's just gonna get dethroned, outperformed. Like I'm seeing super interesting projects having at least potentially much better grounds for their success than Bitcoin. And honestly, like, I don't have any Bitcoin. I think I never had a lot of Bitcoin, but it's just meh. It's just meh. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, let me do my rebuttal. Haha. Basically, I think if you were to ask somebody at the beginning of the decade, what is the best investment that you can make? I think statistically you could say Bitcoin and Ethereum, right?
With the mention that depends on what you look at. Because if you look at the first time you were ever potentially able to buy it, yes. But you cannot compare buying an obscure asset on an obscure exchange in an obscure technology with having an IPO. Because if you're talking about IPOs, it's either Amazon, Google, or Microsoft, I think, in terms of stocks. So, okay, if you want to...
I guess you could say it's a very foreign compared to a company that you buy at that time, obviously. But nonetheless, an investment. Just like anything. If you wanted to broaden the definition of investment, anything that could return your money, or return or give you high rate of return, and the highest rate of return that you could have had is by Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I'm just making the Bitcoin maxi case now. The reason why I think Bitcoin still has incredible upside is because, and this is something that I feel like that you miss, which is the fact that Bitcoin has like this immense cultural sort of story. It has an anonymous creator. It has all of these institutional investors coming in. Your first point of entry before you get into any other crypto is Bitcoin. And the story is appealing. And stories are what drives us from the beginning of time till now. You know what I mean? That's why people go into religions. That's why you need captivating stories. Good tech, obviously, is incredible. And obviously, we know that there's coins that do things better than Bitcoin. But I think due to just Bitcoin's story in part, it has this huge gravitational pull that other cryptos just do not have, you know. And Ethereum is interesting, but not because it's trying to compete with Bitcoin, but because it's different than Bitcoin. So this is why I personally believe, and the guy in the chat said this about Link. I personally believe that coins that are trying to compete with Bitcoin aren't that interesting, and in my opinion, won't get too far, to be honest. Partly because they don't have that kind of story or backing or institutional interest as Bitcoin has, right?
Mm-hmm.
And coins that are promising are ones that are not focusing on the same thing that Bitcoin is focusing on, primarily like Chainlink, like Cardano, like because they're not focusing on what Bitcoin is trying to do. They're doing something or solving another unique problem. You know, we can talk about Bitcoin competitors in terms of technical advancement, like Zcash, you know, have been genuine private money, and Monero, you know, and then you have Nano, which is like a green cryptocurrency and so forth. You talk about all of these, but none of the stories are captivating for anybody. When you tell people about why they should invest in Bitcoin, that it was created by some anonymous guy, and you know it was on a forum, and do you know what I mean? Like this story is captivating. If I tell somebody about Nano or about some coin that is technically superior, do they really care? Can
I
you
mean,
really say that they care? So
I mean,
it's like, go ahead.
so I agree with you. I understand what you're saying. That's cool. But for example, I think I told you, well, not let you know, but like we spoke a bit about Algorand. Dude, Algorand is like there's these guys which are a team of geniuses, of mathematical geniuses, which were like, yeah, dude, we can create an algorithm that will do randomness in such a way that nothing's gonna be ever tampered with, and it's much more efficient than Bitcoin. So okay, I understand, yeah, the anonymous creator is interesting and all, and forums, and okay, that's interesting, but like there's also these teams of super knowledgeable super individuals with proven track records which are challenging that. So how long is this mystery gonna work? Because mystery fades. Like, okay, it's novelty, it's gonna fade, it's eventually gonna fade. If you're buying stuff of hype, you know how that usually goes. Hype lasts for a little while, and then once the hype is gone, the hype is gone, the magic is gone.
You can say the
So
same about the US dollar.
it's,
You can
I
say
don't
the same
know.
about you can say the same about any currency, really. But I think what I think is really important to note is that institutional interest is not so much for these coins. Like I don't think they'll have the because Bitcoin has already reached escape velocity. You know, like it's in space. Like in terms of in terms of when you talk cryptocurrency, you're also talking Bitcoin. And I don't think that shift is gonna come anytime soon, given that it's been around for 10 years, and and all of the technical drawbacks it has, it can be improved upon, like the Lightning Network, which is a layer on top of Bitcoin that would allow you um, to handle more payments. Just for context for anybody listening, the current financial system, right? Every time you go to the store and buy something, the payment it doesn't go through immediately. What happens is that there are hundreds and thousands of payments logged, so to say, until they're processed. That's why you can look on your card and you can see that, or you can look in your bank account and you can see that all of them are pending, and they only clear a few days after. So what happens is on your phone it will show that it already paid, but in reality this is all being processed at a later point, right?
Yeah.
And this is exactly what Bitcoin Lightning Network would do, and which would allow it to then process more payments. It would mimic the current sort of structure of payments, which is that it will be able to log a bunch of payments and then clear them at a later date. But on your phone or whatever, it would show that it has cleared already.
Mm-hmm.
So this update has and there's a lot of criticism on this update because it's been a very long time since it was mentioned and when they're planning to update it. So there's some skepticism around that and whether it works or not, but it's already live. And I think the biggest hurdle is the user interface and designing an application that people will actually use on the Lightning Network. And yeah, just wide scale adoption. So I do think that it can work as a currency, and I do think now that there's so many eyes on it, they're more likely um, to execute on that. As far as I just want to cycle back to like some of the points that you were saying
Let,
earlier.
let me just ask you something, real talk. How much of your crypto portfolio is in Bitcoin?
About 20%,
Why isn't why isn't there more?
because some of them I think have more upside, but I think 20% is quite large for one
I
position.
mean, yeah, if you have 100 asset, 20% is a whole is it's a lot. But if you have like 10, it's not that much. Like
Yeah, but
the thing is, yeah, yeah.
I'd say I'd have like easily like somewhere around 30. So 20% is quite large, to be honest. But
Okay.
that's besides the point. 20% is substantial. The point being that I don't think other coins have the institutional backing that Bitcoin has. There's a lot of and if you listen to think about this, okay? In in rural Africa, nobody's talking about any other coins. It's only Ethereum or Bitcoin. They don't have time to be researching any other coins. And and in essence, they are even more volatile than Bitcoin, any other altcoins, even if they're technically superior. So, and in Venezuela, in places where shit is going down, they're not talking about, they're only talking about these two. You understand? And the biggest use case for Bitcoin is in places like Venezuela. It's in places where the currency has been devalued to such an extent that even the volatility of Bitcoin is better than the volatility of the current of the local currency. And I think that's another point that I speak to when I say that I'm bullish on Bitcoin, and I disagree with people saying that there's not much growth in it, because what we're seeing right now is much more totalitarian states, much more political unrest, and all of that leads me to think that the first stop for anybody that is seeking to secure their assets would be Bitcoin. People don't have the time to be researching any other new obscure coins. The easiest, you have to think that what's the easiest step that you can take? And the easiest step that you can take is a recognizable name, is something that has network effects, right? And oh, by the way, I should probably explain network effects. Network effects is the value of a network increases um, the more people are on it. The part of the reason why it's so hard for people to move off Facebook, for example, right, is because your friends are on there, your family is on there, right? With all of these other sort of smaller and obscure coins, nobody's using it. Oh, my life, bro. Nobody's using those coins. So for you to convince your family or something like that to switch to another coin from Bitcoin will be extremely hard because they don't know it. But the next guy has Bitcoin. The guy down the street is talking about Bitcoin. you're much more likely to convince somebody walking down the street or to talk to somebody walking down the street about Bitcoin than you are about Chainlink, you know? So I
Yeah,
think
dude.
we're stuck, we ourselves, right? Because we're so involved in the space, we're stuck in local maxima, meaning we can only see what we're engaging with ourselves. But the broader picture is people are only talking about Bitcoin. Um, that's it. That's
Let me
all I'm
just
trying
give
to
you an
say.
anecdote regarding this. What you said is perfectly true. It's the most famous one. It probably has the biggest following. Most people have heard of it. It has network effects. Super awesome. Let me just tell you a personal example. A few weeks ago, a friend of mine, he asked me how he can buy something with some crypto. Yeah, we'll talk about this some other time. And he was like, I want to buy some Bitcoin. My first question, and obviously, yes, I might know more than the average person. Let's just keep it at that. My question was, why would you buy Bitcoin? Like seriously, do you need Bitcoin specifically? I can give you like 10 coins off the top of my head which are better for transactions. Dude, first one, XRP. If you can do it in XRP, do it in XRP. He tried it. He could do it in XRP. It cost him like $0.003 to transfer whatever amount of XRP. And I was like, yeah, awesome. Good for you, man. That's it. Why
But
would you
if
ever
you
need Bitcoin?
yeah, I agree that if you're trying to transact, it's not the best coin currently.
Sorry, let
But
me just
if you
add. Let me
go
just,
ahead.
sorry, yeah. My point was, dude, all you have to do is ask a friend that you know is more knowledgeable, and he'll give you the alternative. Because this is not like with stocks. You know, with stocks, it's a bit shady. This is not investment advice. I'm not telling you to buy XRP and hold it until you grow old. I'm telling you, buy it now, use it, and then it disappears. Like I'm not saying about holding XRP. I'm talking about using XRP. If you want to hold it. But you know, you can seriously, it's much easier than stocks or other assets or even other currencies. It's seriously, oh, not to mention the fact that it's in the same application. Like, okay, with money, with currencies until Revolut and some other smart banks, it was hard to hold multiple assets. You had to have different bank accounts in different currencies. With crypto, you can have everything in one wallet. You want to buy Bitcoin, you ask your friend, he tells you the better crypto, you buy XRP, you do a transaction, win-win. It's so much more fluid than like traditional currencies.
Okay, okay, then let me explain this to you in terms of institutional backing and why I say Bitcoin has in some regards even more growth capability than some of these new coins. Even though your first or your second instinct will tell you that Bitcoin has been around for a while, therefore it doesn't have that much growth there. Okay, if
Hmm.
say they were going to use a coin, if the government was going to use a coin, right? What would be the first coin they would think of? It'd be Bitcoin. If any, think about El Salvador, for example. That is the perfect example. It's not an obscure coin that they're going to choose. It's going to be Bitcoin. And when Bitcoin gets chosen, they will try and make it so that you can transact with it. I think now that El Salvador is, for example, using Bitcoin, they're going to press for Lightning Network to be instated as soon as possible. They're not going to look for no coin or something like that to try and solve that, some smaller obscure coin. No, Bitcoin is already worth 1 trillion. Why should we look anywhere else? Let's just fix that.
What
So
if
that
Cardano is adopted in Ethiopia and it's much better than Bitcoin? What's the next country gonna choose?
there will be fragmentation. Don't get me wrong. Like the same way that there's a U.S. dollar, but in my a U.S. dollar and a Japan is it yen? Yen, yeah. Um, the same way I think Bitcoin will coexist with these other coins. So you're right in saying that Cardano can be adapted in Ethiopia, but Bitcoin will be the U.S. dollar of these coins, and I don't think it's going to knock uh, any of these coins are going to knock it off its horse anytime soon. and primarily because of network effects. I don't think any other coin has this level of network effects, and it doesn't have a captivating story. It's not something you necessarily would share easily. You're gonna have all of the people that are extremely interested in the tech and that are always trying to maximize their returns, looking for better coins. So those people will exist, but I will have to remind you about people that are not looking to maximize their returns beyond holding one crypto, and that one crypto will be Bitcoin, in my opinion. And like I said, you see that in Nigeria, you see that in Venezuela. They're not looking to find any other coin. Come on, man. You think in Venezuela they're looking to? In Venezuela they're putting it in Bitcoin and that's it. You know, yeah, and also the problem with fragmentation in the crypto space is that when you want to have big companies, right, and seamlessly work with each other, right, you do have to pick one coin that you'll primarily work with. And in my opinion, that is Bitcoin. So I can see sort of Square, for example, adopting Bitcoin usage, and then Tesla adopting Bitcoin usage and accepting Bitcoin. And that will always be and in my opinion, that is why Tesla chose Bitcoin. And it's hard to deny. Think about this, okay? Tesla chooses Bitcoin. El Salvador makes Bitcoin legal tender. Actually, let me stop there. Tesla chooses Bitcoin. MicroStrategy buys billions of Bitcoin. El Salvador accepts Bitcoin as legal tender. A bunch of South American countries get the red eye and the red laser eyes, right? Everybody starts getting the red laser eyes. So my point being, this is the first point of contact, and there is actually no discussion of other coins. And this is what I'm trying to get to you, and I'm not sure how to explain this because I feel like it's cultural and not so much technical. Because if it was purely technical, then they would choose the best coin. It's just like you said. But it's almost like saying, hey, there's a company that makes better phones than Apple. Therefore, Apple is gonna die. But Apple's not dying anytime soon. You know what I mean? Apple's not going nowhere.
I will give you this. I did expect Apple to, if not die, at least tone down a while ago, and they didn't. So you might be right here. But, dude, sorry. Let me just ask this: what does MicroStrategy do again?
Hold on, what? That guy gave a comment that said Tesla makes new Gigafactory based in Is that a lie?
I think he's trolling. Yeah,
he's trolling.
Or
okay. I'm like, what?
Is he? Yeah, maybe Elon can. Maybe Elon can do some volcano-powered cars next. Yeah,
that would be insane, right? Hold on, let me show you the laser eyes, man, that I'm talking about. Laser eyes.
Come on, don't show me the laser eyes.
Hold on, man. I'm showing you the laser eyes. Hold on, man. I'm talking about the laser eyes in South America. They're all doing laser eyes. All of the politicians there. Hold on.
Wow.
I need to show this to the people. Basically, laser eyes are an indication that you've seen the truth. Is that what it is? I actually never asked myself why it's like
I don't know. I just stay away from people with laser eyes on Twitter. That's all I know.
Well, then you have to stay away from all of the South American politicians.
Yeah, I don't think I'm following any of them anyways. So yeah, it's good. It's good.
May I put in South American laser eyes and I'm getting these shitty results, man.
I don't think it's like a thing, you know. I think you might have seen some, but I don't think it's a thing.
No. I'm talking about legit politicians with like a blue tick and everything, like
No, no,
senators.
I believe you, but I don't think there's like a cultural trend named
Oh, okay.
Latin America laser eyes.
Yeah, I won't find it. I saw it on Twitter somewhere. Yeah. Yeah. Point being, I like this guy.
Yeah, he's trolly. I like him too.
So yeah. So my point being, your first point of contact um, is most likely going to be Bitcoin, and that's for reasons that I have a hard time explaining. But I think it's a lot of intangible stuff, like the story, a lot of things that are not even relating to the tech. And I think those are sometimes the hardest things to discuss for technical people, because in their mind it's like the most technical advanced solution will win, but oftentimes that's not the case. I mean, how do you think we got to our current financial system? Have you seen the back have you seen the back end of our current financial system, how
Yeah.
fragmented, how long, how many things are sort of bureaucratic, and even pen and paper still, and faxing machines. What the fuck is a faxing machine? What? Can you believe people are still using faxing machines? Jesus Christ, man.
No,
So yeah, the most technical, the advanced solution doesn't always win. So yeah, that's that.
yeah. The thing is with what you just said regarding technological innovation. The thing is with another problem I have with Bitcoin is the fact that I won't say the community isn't alive. It is alive and it's probably doing a lot of stuff. But the thing is, the community doesn't have leaders and like, no, again, it has leaders. I'm talking about not ideological, but like visionary technological leaders. For example, how Vitalik is and how Hoskins is. I initially, like with the whole decentralization thing of crypto, you I wouldn't blame you if you believe it's better for there not to be a leader. But I
Right.
think they don't have a fixed, strict direction. And I think that might be one of its weak points. For example, we both like
And the
Elon Musk.
strength.
Most people like Elon Musk. One of the reasons Tesla is successful is because Elon Musk, he's obviously not doing the whole work himself, but he has a vision. He has ways to solve the problems they're having. Like having a visionary leader is super important, and Bitcoin lacks that.
I think it's super important, but it's also it's a weakness and a strength at the same time, because it's a weakness in that it doesn't show a sort of a clear path forward, like what you said. It doesn't have um, a clear vision if there's no one leader. But I think the whole point of Bitcoin is this non-custodial attitude, meaning that there's no one particular person that can define it, that it's defined by everybody using it. And so everybody's the leader in Bitcoin. And that's why, and that goes to the strength of Bitcoin. That's why it's so the strength is also the weakness. And if everybody's the leader, it'll be hard to have a clear vision, so to say. But it will always be sort of the vision of the combined people, so to say. And I think only time will tell whether or not this is successful or not. I think the reliance on leaders also means, what if Elon goes, and then what do you do? Shouldn't the mission be, or the goal be clear regardless of the leader? Why is there a reliance on the leader? In not to make this like esoteric or anything, but I read this book um, called Dune by Frank Herbert, which is one of my favorite science fiction books. and it has this hero in there. And I think in the book it keeps describing the fact that a hero is the natural urge of the people, right? But the reliance on the hero leads um, leads his followers astray, because the followers are blinded um, by the hero, and they don't do anything themselves, but they rely on everything to be done by the hero. So the moral of the story is that in all of these situations, um, when the hero then is gone or corrupted, the whole movement falls apart. So in that token, I would say, no pun intended, I would say not having a leader is a huge strength of Bitcoin, but also a huge weakness, because you don't have a defined leader or hero. But it's also good because you might not need a hero, you might not need a defined leader, and I think, yeah, that's a strength and a weakness. But that's a topic we could be on for hours.